Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Many times you take that vacation and you come back and it's like, what? Why am I still so stressed? Well, Diana Bejasa joining us here, our amazing life coach, our friend, and she's like my therapist. She's a catalyst speaker and she's joining us here to help you succeed in life. Also, don't forget, she's a co-author, energy healer as well, and author of Manifest Your Dreams. Welcome back today. How are you?
Hi, Jill. I am great. I'm feeling really refreshed from the little bit of a break that we took, and I hope you had like a good Mother's Day and just a good May overall.
Ditto, same here, and congrats, your daughter turned two.
Yeah, she turned two. We had a great Memorial Day on Maui as well, so I hope you got a little bit of vacation. Did you get any time off during this, or is
Okay,
it coming up for
not
you?
okay, not like that, like Maui, no, but yeah, thank you. Just rub it in. Yeah, she lives in Hawaii, everyone. Honolulu. So God bless you. This is amazing. You get to travel around. Hey, I'm on Long Island. There's an island. There's little beaches too. So I guess right to each his own. But I'm glad you had a great, Mother's Day and all, and great to be back. So let's get started. For today. We're talking more about stress, right? Tell us what the topic is in regards to our travels, please.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about why you take a vacation, but you still feel stressed out. Because what I find a lot of times is that we come back from vacation, right? We take the trip, like we booked it, we prepped for it, we packed our bags, told ourselves we were going to rest. We come back and we're still stressed, right? We check our email and we instantly feel the tension in our neck, or
Ah, so
like,
true.
or we're like, oh my God, I need like a vacation from my vacation. And I
It's
want to talk about that because I
sure.
think that it doesn't need to be that way. And before we even like address that, like I do want to address even just the idea that like sometimes we don't even feel like we can take a vacation.
Like we're
So
not entitled to it, or we don't have enough
yeah,
money, or we're gonna, it's always, oh, then the stress of work, taking off work. You're right. We don't.
yeah. Um, And sometimes like we have the breaks built in, like for example, when we work like a full-time job, right? Like it's legally required that they give
Yep.
us some form of break. But sometimes it doesn't feel like we can, right? Like the culture of the organization we're part of might make it seem like it's frowned down upon to take a vacation or any of those sort of things,
Mm-hmm.
especially in like high performance situations. And I mentioned this because I actually, when I worked in investment banking, when I worked on Wall Street, I had a female managing director mentor when I was an analyst who always took her vacations. Like, so she didn't just talk the talk, she walked the walk, right? Like, and she would tell us, like, us female analysts and associates, she would tell us, like, this is your time. You're entitled to it. You deserve it. Take the rest, take the time because things are going to go on whether you're there or not. And that was like a really powerful thing for me to realize that like I deserve that rest. And so if you are one of those people who struggles to take a vacation or like doesn't give yourself a break, I mention this just because like maybe that can shift your mindset, right? Like that it's not just about you taking the break. It might be about you setting an example for somebody else that they also deserve their time off because we are cultivating a culture when we make decisions, right? We're showing people what is acceptable, what's not by how we live. And like, I want to get more into that, but like it really is not
Well,
constructive for us to not take time off.
can I just say something? Because,
Yeah.
okay, so like I worked in television for so many years, and you're not allowed to take off during the month of November, not allowed to take off the month of May. You have to work every holiday. It's like, and then you ask to take off, and it's like, well, you can only take 3 or 4 days at a time. It's like, it's so strict, it's so disgusting. I just hated that atmosphere and the culture. It was just horrible, right? And then I have my uncle, by the way, who his company was the same way. He had a big job in New York City in like the fashion industry. And he ended up collecting, I think when he retired, he had like over a year and a half of vacation days pay coming to him because they never wanted him to use his vacation. But I mean, he loved his job. Was dedicated. But I mean, come on. I mean, they didn't ship him the
Yeah.
vacation, but they didn't want him to take it. So it's just like, I don't agree. I think it makes you a better performer, worker for that company when you have a little R&R with your family, your friends, and you need a break. My
Yeah.
goodness. It's called burnout, people. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I hear you, Jill, right? Like it's something that like we see often is people who don't take the break, right? And another thing that kind of like shifted the idea of taking a break for me, I think we've talked about this before, but like I was working with a personal trainer after I got like really sick, developed chronic illness, autoimmune disease, and I wanted to like regain my health, but I wanted to do it in a really intentional way where I was making sure I wasn't like re-injuring my back or anything like that. So I was working with this trainer, and I remember we were doing, I think we were just doing like bicep curls or something simple like that. And it was like 3 sets of 15, say, I don't remember
Yeah.
the exact number, but so after the first set, um, like I just went into the next set because I felt like I could keep going.
Yeah.
Right. And like he's like, what are you doing? And like oftentimes when I would do this, right, because he would see me want to do this all the time, he would stop me and say, like, no, you need to take a rest, right? There was this one time that I kept going, and this time he decided not to stop me.
Ugh.
And so he let me finish the set, right? Like, so the second set of say 15. And I finished them, and then he asked me, he's like, what did you think about that second set? And I was like, yeah, like I noticed that that I got a lot harder by the end. It seemed like my form was off, like I was having trouble breathing, like it was just much
Yeah.
more uncomfortable that second set. And he was like, yeah, like that's why you need the break in between every set. You need that
Absolutely.
rest. And even if it's
Absolutely.
just a minute, right? Like in between your sets, that minute gives your body enough time to recharge so that you can be in top form, so you can be doing things to your best ability, so that you're not feeling winded and exhausted and compromising yourself just to finish something. And so
Yes.
I mentioned this because I think like, yes, it's absolutely applicable
Yeah.
when we're building muscle, but it's also applicable to when we're working not just on our body, right, but in our work. So we need that rest, even if it's just a weekend, even if it's just a couple days off, even if it's just like the break. As much as it seems like we might be getting behind, we actually are moving forward. We're actually helping ourselves to stay in top condition.
Oh my God. Absolutely. So hold on. So finish your story about you and this. How did you slow it down?
So I mean that was like a
Did you?
that was like the time that then I started to realize like, wow, rest is actually productive.
Okay.
Rest is
Okay.
not just lazy. It's not just something that that's going to keep us from like it's not something that's going to cause us to fall behind. It's something that's actually going to propel us forward. We
Yep.
have better form, we perform better, like all of the things work better when we have rest. So it's important for us to take that time, but I also think that where this episode's coming in, what I want to talk about today is how, yes, we need that time,
Yep.
but even more important than that, we need to know how to use it, right?
Sure.
Because just leaving the office, like taking the minute break, that doesn't mean that we're actually going to perform at our peak, right? So when we think that like getting away is going to fix everything, it's not. We want to be really clear that you can just get away, right? But then like we talked about in the very beginning, when you walk away and like you come back to this inbox that's like flooded with messages, you're overwhelmed, all these different things. And so rather than feeling that way, right, what if we could rest with intention so that we're not just doing another form of distraction? Because another thing I see a lot of times when people take vacations or like trips and things like that is that they're just distracting themselves. So what if instead of it being a distraction, what if instead of it being
Yep.
something that sets you back, it could actually be something that propels you forward, right? And what I think about that is like we deserve the vacation, but
So
very few of
true.
us are actually using it intentionally. And we don't want to waste our vacation, our time, our breaks, our rest, thinking that things are going to change just because we change our location temporarily.
Oh gosh, good one. Guilty. Done that. I have. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work out the way you plan. Then you come back and you're more stressed and you're miserable. And all right, so what should we be doing? Like, how do we solve this?
Okay, so rather than just taking a break,
Okay.
I talk about taking a pit stop, right? Making a pit stop. So
Yep.
a pit stop, if you're imagining like a race car, right? High performance, designed for speed, like designed to play at the top of the game, right? Um, even that car doesn't just keep pushing, right? It doesn't just
No,
keep hitting the
no,
gas.
no.
It takes a
Uh-uh.
pit stop, right? And those pit stops are actually built in. So if you think about this, like again, like thinking about your work, right?
True.
Like these stops are built in to our calendar technically, right? We do have holidays throughout the year. We do have like weekends, right, that are built in. We do have, whether it's like 10, 15 vacation days a year or however many vacation days, especially if you own your own business, you get to decide that. Um, but just like that high performance car stops for a pit stop, we deserve that too. But the pit stop, it's not passive.
No.
It's precise, it's strategic, it's intentional, it's a recalibration, right? So that pit stop's not just a pause,
So
it's a
true.
recalibration. It's something that gets us checked, aligned, recalibrated,
Re-energized.
right? Like readjusted, right? And that way, we return to the track. We return to our work with more power and not less. And that's what I believe that we have the opportunity to do when we take a vacation, right? So a lot of times vacations, people will talk about like their vacations and it's like they're
Mm,
trying to they're trying to like pack tons of stuff into their vacation, right? Or maybe they're just pulling off to the side of the road and like, scrolling Instagram with a cocktail,
I
right? That
can't.
feels like a break, but it doesn't actually do anything.
It makes you more stressed out. And then you come back, it's the whole typical, oh, I came back from vacation. I need another vacation. I feel like I need a vacation from vacation, right? Is that what they say?
Yeah, yeah. And I've definitely felt that way before, but what's changed for me is when I realized that there were ways to disengage strategically, right? Just like we're talking about here, right? Just like we're talking about that race car driver does when they take a pit stop, right? Like they take a breath and it's not something that sets them back. It's
Yeah.
actually something that keeps them going for the long run, right? Like so if that race car driver did not take those pit stops and tried to push themselves to the limit, their literal wheels could fall off.
They will fall off, yeah. And even though it's a very quick one, I've been there before. They go, zip, 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 zip. It's like 2 minutes, but they need that.
Yeah.
Yes.
They need that exactly, and we need that too. And it's something very important for us. But like I said, right, we don't want to just take our foot off the gas and like sit there, right? Like if the race car driver did that, was like, well, I'm just gonna sit here for like 2 minutes and nothing happened. Like nothing happens, right? Like you're not actually
Oh,
helping yourself. So when you take that break, make it a pit stop, right? Don't just disengage, right? Don't just distract. Use rest to actually support your nervous system, your clarity, your direction, right? Because then it becomes more than just a delay. It becomes true rest, a true reset so that you can accelerate.
got it. And we all need a little of that. We are here with Anna Bejasa. If you are just tuning in, grateful she is back joining us. As always, our special guest. And I've known her I remember when Olive was turning one. So if it's been over a year, has it?
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
been, right? She was a baby, I think, when we first started all this.
Yes, she was.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. All
She's
right, all
still
right.
my baby.
All right, of course, of course. All right, so we're talking today about, going on that vacation, but why are you still stressed out? Because we're not doing it right, right? Uh-huh. So again, don't just take a break, make that pit stop. What's
Yes.
going on next?
Yes. So how do we take a pit stop, right? How do we actually shift gears strategically? And I'm gonna use another car metaphor here, but like a lot of times we think that when we want to go faster, we want to go farther, we keep our foot on the gas, right? We keep flooring the gas. But the truth is, if we really want to move faster, we have to disengage. We have to let go.
Yep.
And that's the only way that we're going to shift gears, right? And like I said, we're not just going to let go, take our foot off the gas and do nothing, right? We're not just going to scroll Instagram. We're not
Mm-mm.
just going to like veg for a week and do nothing. What real transformation requires is not just a pause, not just like a view, right? Or like a location. It requires intentional disengagement. So when you are disengaging a car from a specific gear and you're stepping back into another gear, right? That's intentional, right? Like you're
Yeah.
moving, you're shifting, you're literally shifting gears. You have your foot on the clutch. That is intentional disengagement. And that's what allows for us to step back also in life differently. And that's a lot of what I do in my private retreats or even in my group retreats, right? It's not a vacation. it's not a vacation alone, right? It can be part of a vacation package if you're coming to Hawaii or whatever. It's not just an escape for wellness where you're getting a massage and then like, like feeling tense afterwards. They're pit stops, right? So
Yeah.
they're there for your next evolution, right? We don't just rest. It gives you a chance to realign, right? And that way you're not just um, like leaving behind the stress temporarily. You're really thinking about like, how do I want to return to life? How do I
Hmm.
want to get back on the road? How do I want to accelerate? How do I want to move forward? Because so often, like when we take that vacation and we just are using it as this like let me freeze in the ether, right? Like let me do nothing for a week, or let me pack my schedule so full that I come back and I'm like literally burned out from vacation. Um, this is a different way of looking, right? And what's awesome about the retreats I hold, the private retreats and the group retreats, is that it's not like it doesn't have to be like 5 days. It can be a day, right? It's just like that pit stop that we were talking about, right? Like sure, the car could get like a whole, like makeover, like all the pieces recalibrated, but to keep going, and that's what this is about. Like we just need a little bit, right? So these end up being like half day, 1 day private retreats, right? So like you could bake it into a vacation in Hawaii, right? Like if we're talking about your business, I don't know, maybe you want to write it off as a business expense, your trip to Hawaii, right? Like there's so many different things that and different ways that we can look at this. Because that version of us who keeps trying to keep up with everything and juggle all the things and keeps running when there's literally no gas in the tank, like, it,
Oh, and it just burned out and exhausted. I get it. I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah, and burnout is like a car term, right? Like, and what happens is we literally destroy the engine. And when we destroy the engine, it can't run anymore.
Oh my
And that's like
gosh.
that's the most devastating thing that I learned when I got really sick and burned out, developed chronic illness, autoimmune disease. Like when I got those diagnoses and they told me that I had no choice but to slow down, I was like, no way, I'm a high performance race car. Like I'm built for this. How am I supposed to do that? And I didn't want to. And what I've discovered, what I talk to my clients about is there's another way. You do not have to like you do not have to retire yourself to the like former high performer, you know, high performance race car graveyard, right? Like
Hmm.
you can keep going. You can still have it all, but you need to do it differently.
I agree.
And so that's what we talk about in the retreats. I tailor them to my clients, like based on like where they are, if they're already in that place where they've developed serious health issues, or if they're on that path, just giving them that wake up call. So even when I do some work for like incentive trips. So when people are planning incentive travel and they come to Hawaii, I'll do like little presentations or like a little mini reset for those people as well. So it's about like realizing that true efficiency involves breaks, right? That it is productive to
Yep.
rest. And but that there could be different levels of productivity to rest, right? Like it could just be this like high adrenaline trip where you're, zip lining and like, snorkeling and stuff when you come to Hawaii. Or it can be like, yeah, I'm going to do all that. And I'm going to also use this as a pit stop to take me to that next level, right? Because the next level doesn't just come from like hitting the gas till it's out, right? Until the engine is like burned up. It comes from stopping, right? Like a lot of times people would be like, "Oh, like, high performance cars don't work that well because they need all this maintenance." It's like, "No, high performance cars work well because they get
Has,
that maintenance."
yep. Every supposed to be 3,000 or 6,000 miles. See, I forget. I guess my car doesn't do that good, but you're right. That's why it exists. That's why the sticker's there to remind us. Just never
Yes,
look at
yes.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, but everything needs that. And we as a whole, as a body, we need to recharge, we need to reignite, and a lot of us don't do that. So you're going to take us to some next level getaways, I hope, maybe. How are we going to start shifting here? Or are you providing us a vacation? Are we coming to a retreat with you? Are we
Please
coming to
come.
Hawaii? What's
Please come to
happening?
Hawaii. Yeah. I would love that. And so like I do tailor it based on where the client is. And so, like we'll have a conversation and we'll talk about like where you are at, what you need, and then I'll come up with a trip, right? And it'll be an experience. It'll be, combining a little bit of what you need mindset wise. Maybe if you're a foodie, we can do some food stuff since I am a former chef. I've worked in Michelin starred restaurants, so like the food's not going to be bad. I like to turn them a little bit into like cooking classes so you have a skill as well, like culinarily that you take home. I just held a retreat back in May where this woman, like I saw her a couple weeks later and she's like, I'm still doing this, like I'm still using some of the techniques that you taught. And what it does is it gives people this grounding place. So if you're a foodie and that high performer, these retreats can be perfect for you because like it gives you a way to ground this reminder of like, yes, I deserve to take time. I deserve to be intentional with my time. And like they can be little things that you're doing every single day that just brighten up your day and remind you of who you really want to be. Um, so yeah, so there's that, but then there's also like I mean, even when I lived in New York, like, and still when I have friends from Hawaii who visit New York, like I love to plan like experiences for people. So, like I'll show you like some of the private stuff that like, only locals know about and do it in a way that's really pono so that it's respectful of the culture here and of the land. But we'll get to do like healing stuff, in locations you never would have discovered otherwise. And just, yeah, like, but it gets to be what every individual person wants, right? And so I look at it kind of like a menu, like what do you need, but also what do you want? And then we craft the 1 day retreats from there, and it gets to be a really special private experience.
Oh my goodness. Okay, where are we going next? Do you have something planned? Is this like a group thing or are we planning our own things? What's happening? I'm
So
excited.
for So for the private retreats, you just let me know when you want to come to Hawaii. We can figure out dates and then a plan. And then aside from the day of the private retreat, if you want me to also do a little planning or recommendations for like places to eat, stuff like that, like I can help make sure that like outside of your time with me that you have this structure for a really intentional time here. Or if you just want the recommendations or the single day, like those are all great things to talk to me about. Yeah, just let me know when you want to come and we can look at like how do you really use this time to reclaim, right? Like
Beautiful.
and well, I do want to say so like because I worked in Michelin starred restaurants in San
And
Francisco,
on
my
Wall Street, just saying.
yes. My palate leans towards local, seasonal, really healthy healthy foods that are um, often like really rich in vegetables. Where to me also, I think we've talked about this in the past, Jill, but like I don't ever want to eat a meal that's like vegetarian or vegan that tastes like I need a cheeseburger afterwards. Like I don't want to feel that way. So I believe again, like in that full flavor experience, right? Just like in our life, I think that we deserve like all the success and the family and the health and all the things like we want it all. I believe that we get to have that with food too, right? We get to have the healthy, the nourishing food, but we
Darn
don't have to
right.
sacrifice flavor and satisfaction. And like I said, I'm about having it all, and I'm about also doing it in a really intentional way so that we have the things that matter and we cut out the stuff that we don't actually care about.
God bless. Beautifully said. All right. And just want people to know clearly they can go to your website. You can go on social media. This is all about savoring life and savoring life with Diana. Did you have a recent retreat or was that when we first started talking? What did you have?
Yeah, I host
Mhm.
retreats regularly. So I do group retreats, like I said, those are at a regular cadence about once a month, but I also do these private retreats. So
This is
if you
in
want a private,
Honolulu or just the one that you did recently? Just curious.
oh, yeah, I've done the one I did most recently was here in Honolulu.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, it was a group retreat, but I also, like I said, I do private retreats. So if you want to know more about that, you can on my website, there's a contact me area. You can fill
Awesome.
out that form, or you can email me, or you can DM me on social media. Diana Bejasa Speaks, DianaBejasa Speaks. Just say like, hey, tell me more about a private retreat and we'll set up a call. I can send you some more information so you can figure out like, okay, well, what is this? Because I think it is this co-creation of like what you really want. Like this is your vacation. This is your time away. Just like a pit stop or sorry, a race car driver decides like what things, there are obviously essentials that need to happen, but they can also decide like what things really matter for them. You get to decide that too. And so even your retreat gets to be this like custom bespoke experience that is one of a kind and absolutely unforgettable.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you. How can we reach out to you?
Yeah, so you can find my website, www.savorlifewithdiana.com, Savor lifewithdiana.com, Diana. Or on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, at Diana Bejasa Speaks. So at DianaBejasa Speaks. And yeah, when I also travel to speak, sometimes I will do events in different cities. So you can definitely follow along, check that out because I do want that to be part of my experiences too, is like, just why not maximize
No,
my travel and my experiences?
absolutely, for sure. Well, thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you here and looking forward to the next time we connect. And you got vacation on my mind. It's a good summer. Kids out of school soon. I'm all ready. I'm booking some stuff now as we speak.
Yeah.
One day
Yeah.
I'm coming to you. I love you and you're awesome and love the smile. Thank you for bringing us to life here again today and rejuvenating our minds and
Yes.
thinking
Come to
about that
Hawaii.
vacation. I will
Enjoy
soon.
it.
Thank you. I'm contacting you when I do. Goodbye, sweetheart. Thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.